back, and it's time for us to do the consumer tech segment. And we're going to have a conversation with Philip Ashon, who is the host of Citi Trends and also the head of production here at Citi TV. He's going to help us to understand and get into some apps that are going to help us with managing finance. Good morning, Phil.
Well, good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. We are going to look at generally technologies, generally, that help us be able to manage our finances. One of the first things that actually came to mind when we were thinking about this topic was how important this is. It's not technology as you would find with gadgetry and things like that, but one of the first things I think, or one of the most innovative things that ever happened to helping us manage our finances is this paper, piece of paper. You have no idea how incredibly important a piece of paper is in managing your finances.
Okay, tell us, take us into that.
From writing down the things that are running short at home, to writing down the things that you buy on a daily basis, to picking up receipts and keeping receipts that you can make reference to noting down things you are supposed to buy for people, to maintaining a budget. This is one of the most important pieces of the puzzle when it comes to managing your finances. A piece of paper.
Wow.
It can be as small as this, or it can be as big as a book, or it can be whatever. But a piece of paper for me is one of the most impactful starting points when it comes to using sort of some new kinds of technology to manage your finances.
Okay.
Now let's jump into the ones that we are more acquainted with, which is the gadgets and things like that. Your laptop or your tablet, if you have one, is also a very, very powerful platform to use to manage your finances.
How so?
It can either be as simple as using a notepad, on your tablet, or a sticky note, or Excel spreadsheet, or a Word document.
Okay.
If you have any of these, you basically have a template upon which you can build. Now, a couple of things that I really want us to really remember. One of the most important things is creating a habit in terms of managing your finances.
Okay.
So, for example, you have a laptop. You don't have any fancy apps or anything or software on it, but you have Word, you have Excel. So open an Excel spreadsheet, and then in one side put groceries. In one column, put groceries. Put the prices that you are looking to spend on the groceries. In another side, you can put gadgets you want to buy. In another side, you're basically building a budget for yourself, for your home, for your small business, whichever. And based on the numbers that you put there, you are guiding yourself as to what to buy. You can include when to buy it, how often you want to buy it, and things like that. How long it takes, for example, for those resources that you have planned for to finish, when you intend to replenish, things like that. At the end of the day, these simple notes that you make will eventually help you to get a good sense of how much money you're spending, how much you intend to spend, or how much you even should be spending. Sometimes we buy, I don't know, like a whole carton of milk, and we realize we don't really need that much anyway. Or we buy some stuff and then it's at home, we realize that we really don't have any need for it. When you make such notes about what you're spending, when you go back to those notes, you get to figure out, okay, so I really don't need 12 pieces of pineapple or whatever every month. I probably need 5 or 3, depending on the consumption levels in the home. And so when you make these notes, it helps. And it doesn't matter what the size of the laptop is or the capacity of the computing power or whatever of the machine is. But these very simple things go a long way to help you to be able to manage your finances and manage them very well. The thing I like to say, though, is that it is a bit of work if you want to manage. But then they say that a life that, is properly not checked and maintained and in terms of documented, you can't really live a proper life. So one of the other things I'd like to say is, aside setting reminders and noting down the things, find a way to sort of get into the habit of actually writing these things down.
Okay.
When you write them down frequently, it becomes a habit, and then you start noting everything that you buy. Some of the things you probably buy on the streets, like in Trotsky, and you're going home and you decide to buy some ice cream or something like that. It's very easy for these things to skip you. But then, for example, if you set 5 cedis a week to buy ice cream, you know that every week I'm spending 5 cedis.
Yes.
So it doesn't really matter how many ice creams you choose to buy. You just know that I've set aside 5 cedis to buy ice cream.
Okay.
And so sometimes the little things that you buy really escape you. But then when you sort of have a certain number in mind, a general limit in mind, it really helps.
Okay.
So one of the other things is it's very easy sometimes to forget about certain payments you need to make. And so as part of the notes that you make, you can have monthly payments. Okay. So you pay for ECG, you pay for water, you pay for DSTV. Have a segment where you say monthly payments. Yeah. If you want to pay for insurance or something, you have all of that listed, and you know how much you've allocated to that. And that one really doesn't necessarily have to take so much. It can be either on a sticky note, or it can be in a Word document, Excel spreadsheet, any of these platforms. So far as you can write, you basically can get some work done on it. Then comes the other side where a lot of people really like, which is what can you do with your mobile device or with your tablet? What apps are available on the market that can easily help you to be able to manage your finances? The first one is a very interesting app. It's called Mint.com, mint.com. Okay. Now, Mint.com basically is both a platform in terms of a website and then a mobile app. So it has a website version and then it has a mobile app. Now, this is the website version of it. What it basically does is it doesn't just help you note how much you're spending. It actually does a lot of things all in one. And it says all-in-one finances, creating budgets for the home. If you are in the US, then credit scores will be important to you. But then basically, getting all your money, what you're spending, how much is coming in, all of that in one place, this is a great way to do that. You can see there, you can list all your bills that you typically pay. You can list all of them and then allocate amounts to it as and when you make those payments. It's also very, very secure. And it comes really, really highly recommended. Any searches that you make about a management app, any searches that you make about management app goes a long way to really help you too. In terms of, so Mint.com.
Mint.com.
The very first one I would like to highlight.
All right, so super. We're talking about Mint.com, a website that can help us to sort out all your finances and properly lay out what it is that you need there. If you're watching us and watching what's going on here, kindly use the hashtag Breakfast Daily if you have any comments to make. If you have any comments to make, and we also have a WhatsApp line as well.
That there is Mint.com. The second one I would like listeners or viewers to take a look at is Money Lover.
Money Lover?
Yes, Money Lover. I fell in love with Money Lover last year, and it's been my go-to app for basically managing finances. That is Money Lover. Sort of runs along the same lines of Mint. But I like Money Lover because, well, it kind of is much easier to manage as a mobile app.
So it's an app?
Yes.
Okay.
It's an app, and it's, you can also interact with this on the website as well.
Okay.
But I think that you should go with the app. More or less. As you can see, available both on tablet and on your phones as well. It's simply a money tracking platform. Anything that you want in terms of creating a budget, in terms of keeping track of how much money you're spending and all of that. But you see, at the end of the day, it comes back to that point of the discipline of actually noting how much money you are spending. Because there's no point not having, there's no point downloading all these things or getting all these notes done if you're not going to commit to writing what you actually spend. Because if you don't know how much you're spending, then what are you really planning for? How much are you saving, for example? If I cut down, for example, by 10% of how much I spend on groceries, can I reallocate that amount of money to paying A bill or B bill? And it's only when you actually document these things. Now, these mobile apps have a bit of an advantage over the writing because you can actually do assessments over a period. So let's say you can check with the app, okay, so how much have I spent in terms of groceries for the last 3 months? It can give you a good accurate figure based on how much information you've put in. Sometimes it's a bit cumbersome when you have to go and look for other papers and things like that. So that is understandable. But then if you have some of these apps, if you use the website, for example, to basically log all of this information, it's easier for you to generate a lot of this information that you might be looking for, which gives you a good idea of what your expenditure is like, and then also how you can reallocate certain funds that are probably going into things that you don't typically need, but then you would probably want to reallocate to something else. So for me, these are the very simple things. At the base of it, there needs to be a certain discipline. You need to be disciplined to understand that if you don't keep track of what you're spending, there is no way you can manage your finances. You need to keep track.
So that's the key.
That for me is at the heart of it. If you can be able to maintain a certain discipline, just to note, okay, so every month, and I mean sometimes the nitty-gritty of the everyday can really be overwhelming, and so you might forget to make certain notes. It's understandable. But then, for example, if you tell yourself every month I'm going to allocate 10 cedis to buying fruits, or I'm going to dedicate 50 cedis to buying fruits, 100 cedis for lunch, and things like that, this is the figure that you're supposed to spend. What some people then do is they allocate the amount of money in different envelopes and things like just to help maintain the discipline. But what is important is the discipline. The discipline of when you have the mobile app. It can be a mobile app sitting on your phone, not doing anything until you put the information in. That's when it can generate all these insights about how much money you're spending here as against something else. So the discipline for me is the most important thing. If you want to help yourself manage your finances, the discipline is the most important thing. All these other things that we talked about are just complementary to that discipline. And so just putting all of that in perspective.
The challenges sometimes I find, for example, and why I think your suggestion of even as basic as a piece of paper is important, is looking at the fact that, for example, you go and you buy, I mean, recently I went and saw some light bulbs, in a shop. And I was so surprised by, number one, the power wattage on the bulb was really low, 6 watts. Okay. And it's very bright. So for 6 watts, very bright. I'm like, this is
probably an LED light or something.
Yes, it's an LED light. Okay. So then I'm looking at the cost, and there's 6 of them for 30 Ghana cedis. I'm like, this is a steal.
You see, and a lot of people will not consider the wattage, for example, will not consider how much they bought. For example, if someone asks you right off the bat, how much did you buy your last light bulb? It most likely won't come to you. But if you have these notes down, you can easily make a reference. If you, for example, have noted what that light bulb was, what sort of wattage it was, how much you ended up paying. So if, for example, after 3 months of switching to this new one, you can be able to tell, okay, so 3 months ago I was using
on power.
I was using this kind of light bulb. I bought this other new light bulb, and now I'm spending either much less or much higher. Then you can make proper financial decisions. But then if you don't note them down, you are basically just flying blind and hoping that something will work out. And that unfortunately happens to a lot of people. It happens to a lot of people.
The other thing that I was thinking about as you're talking also was the fact that when we go out to buy stuff, right? I grew up with parents who believed in stocking up because it tends to be cheaper, over time. But then I think what it is that you have to be careful what you're stocking up. In the sense that some things are perishable. So you don't just stock up everything. So I like the example you gave with the pineapple. I mean, if you go and buy 20 of them, and you discover that you only ate 2 weeks.
But that's a very fair point, because what then happens is, like I said, if you don't measure and you don't basically write it down, you will probably not be disciplined enough to understand how much you're supposed to. Because look, if you buy 5 and you end up enjoying only 2, over a 3-month period,
Yeah.
you should be able to know that the 5 is not working.
Yeah, absolutely.
The 5 is not working, no matter how
Absolutely.
much you stock up. If you buy 12 tins of milk and you use only 5 or 6, you should be able to understand that
Yeah.
consistently over this period of time, this is how much we actually use. It's either we use 5 or 3 or 4. And that should be able to help you to manage the little finances that you might have. This pandemic has really taught us a lot about managing the little that we have.
Absolutely.
And some of these things help you to save a lot of money. But once again, at the end of the day, if you don't have the discipline,
It's the discipline.
if you don't have the discipline to note how much you're spending, to sometimes even track back on
Okay.
the expenditure.
Okay.
Look, you are just going to run blind, and it's all going to be based on hope. And really, you are going to end up back to square one of still trying to figure out what to do with your finances.
Yeah.
So for me, the discipline is one. All these technologies and innovations are just complementary to that discipline.
To the discipline.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. I personally got a bit of clarity on some things that I need to sort out myself here. So, yeah. Well, if you've enjoyed this segment of this show, kindly let us know with the hashtag Breakfast Daily. We would like to find out what your thoughts are. What's your preference? If you prefer to use a piece of paper to go through your notes, jot things down, go back and refer, or you want to use maybe Excel sheet or an app like Money Lover. And then the other app, the first app was?
Mint.com.
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 Okay.
If you go to the Play Stores or the App Stores,
Yeah.
just look for Mint or Money Lover
Okay.
on any of them, and you should be able to get it.
Super. All right. Thank you very much, Philip Ashon.